Hello, welcome to Stories in Time. My name is Eloise Schoettler. I'm a storyteller. I love thrift shops. I don't know if you do or not, but you're missing something if you don't go to a thrift shop. I've traveled a great deal with my husband and by myself, and everywhere I go, if it's another place or it doesn't matter. Last time I can remember being in Europe, I was shopping at a thrift store in Italy. But I love them. But my favorite of all of those is a place in Fresno, California called La Tienda Thrift Store. I first went to La Tienda in the 70s with a friend of mine took me over there. She lives in Fresno. And we were looking around and she said, "Have you been to thrift stores much?" And I said, "No." She said, "Well, you ought to. And so I'm going to take you down to the La Tienda." "What's the La Tienda?" "You're going to see." Well, we approached. It was a small 2-story house, Cape Cod house, painted white. And we walked in and there was stuff everywhere. Small stuff, big stuff, things I recognized, things I'd never seen before. And so at first, I just looked around on the first floor. There were 4 rooms on that first floor. And I looked here and put my hands in this basket and that basket. And I didn't see anything, but I knew there was a second floor. So that's what I did. I said, "Joyce, I'm going upstairs." She's good. Okay. So I went and started up the steps. And as I'm going up the steps, there was a little landing where you had to make your turn. And it was on the wall. I couldn't believe my eyes. It was hanging on the wall. Exactly the dress I wished I had been married in. On the wall, white satin, beautiful, with lace. And I felt it, and it was heavy, and it just... Now, I'd already been married 25 years. But I knew that I couldn't leave that shop without that dress. I checked the label for the price, $25. Oh, how ridiculous, $25 for this gorgeous dress with this heavy material, the lace, everything. You see, I have 2 daughters. And my daughters at that time in the 70s were not... They were in college, but they weren't ready to get married, and they weren't talking about being engaged or anything, so it wasn't a tomorrow need. But I thought, it's one of those things that you have a chance at it, you buy it, you're backed up. So I bought it, we put it in the car, and Joyce took me to our hotel room, and that night, Jim was stunned to watch me as I tried to push this dress into my suitcase. It had a 6-foot train and heavy satin. Have I said that before? Heavy, beautiful satin. And he looked at me and he started to say something. I said, "Don't ask. Don't ask. I have a plan. Do you understand that? I have a plan for this dress. Don't worry about it. It's going to be fine." We flew home. As soon as we got home, took the suitcase with the dress in it up to the door, to Karen's bedroom. She had the biggest closet. And I took it out carefully and shook it to try to get rid of those wrinkles from being stuffed into that suitcase and hung it in her closet. This was about October. And both she and Robin were now away at college. And I thought, I'll just hang it there in the closet. They'll be home for Thanksgiving. I can show them this wonderful, I can show them when they come home for Thanksgiving. I have a studio in the basement where I was painting, and I was down there working, and I heard them when they came in. One had had a car and picked up the other, and they came in, and I heard them talking, and I knew that they were going to go right upstairs. And so I turned and left everything, dropped my brushes and everything, and ran upstairs because I wanted to be there before they came to some foolish conclusions. They had opened the closet door. They were both standing back looking into the closet. And Karen said, "Mother, what is this?" You found it, didn't you? Isn't it wonderful? Aren't you glad I've got it? I found it in Fresno. You found this in Fresno? And I said, yes. And she moved a little closer and looked at it. She said, what is this, Mother? A wedding dress. Just feel the material. It's heavy satin. It's going to be wonderful. And I bought it for the two of you. They just turned like they were connected together and looked at me, and in one breath, no way, never. Never. You shouldn't close your mind so quickly. No way, never, Mom. And I thought, well, this is not the time to argue about this. There's not any wedding that we're worried about. We'll still put it, it'll be like having money in the bank. So I wrapped it up carefully and took it down to my studio and hung it out on the wall, covered up so that it wouldn't get damaged. And then we didn't think about it very much. Never, actually. They graduated from college. They went to work. Robin had been working in New York, and then she transferred and she was working in Los Angeles. And guess what? 10 years after I brought that wedding dress into our house, she was engaged. She was engaged. I was so excited when she called and told me that yes, and they were engaged and they had a date for their wedding, and she wanted to come home to go over the plans for the wedding. That was wonderful, and I bet you can guess what I was thinking about. I was thinking about the dress. They'll be glad that I bought it and brought it home for them once they take a good look at it. I didn't say anything. Didn't let that out of the bag at all. She had to think about it. You know, I didn't say a word about it. She came home. We got some of the planning done, looked at everything, talked about stuff. And one day, everybody seemed in such a good mood that I brought the dress up. I came up the steps holding up the dress. I was so proud of it. Have you still got that thing? Mom. Yes, I've got this thing. It's a beautiful dress, and you'll never be able to get satin like that in these days. You should not close your mind so quickly. It's beautiful, Robin. It's lovely, and I bet it'll be beautiful on you, and I think by the look of it that it's going to fit. I'm not going to get involved with that dress, Mom. And we talked about it for a while until finally she gave in enough to say, well, I'll try it on. We were standing in front of a tall mirror, floor mirror, and she dropped it over her head and put it on. It fit her perfectly. It fit like it was made for her. And it looked beautiful on her. We held up her hair in the bag. There were 20 buttons down the back of that dress and a 6-foot train. And I said, Robin, you're going to be beautiful wearing this dress. And she said, Mom, I'm sorry to disappoint you, but I'm not going to wear that dress when I get married. I recognized the finality of her voice. So I folded it back up and took it downstairs and hung it up. And she went back to Los Angeles and she found herself a dress. She told me she would. She said, I'll go find my own dress. I said, that's great. You better get started. So she went home and she got started, and she called to tell me, I got it. What did you get? My wedding dress. You're not going to believe it when you see it. It is so beautiful. It's white. It's just so gorgeous, and it has so much material that it just shakes like a Ginger Rogers dress when you walk in it. Where'd you find it? In a florist shop on Hollywood Boulevard. It was part of the decoration in the window. And I saw it pulled over, and I went over. You know what the sign said in the window? There's this beautiful dress, and they gave the woman's name, Couture, Wedding Garments Couture. I'll have a couture dress to get married in. She said the shock was how much I paid for it. And she told me, and I couldn't catch my breath. But she was paying for it. She had a job that paid her enough to pay for it. So it was fine. She came back here, of course, to get married at Blessed Sacrament Catholic Church up on Connecticut Avenue. It was beautiful. Her father walked her down the aisle. She looked beautiful in her dress. Everything was perfect, just like she had hoped. She went back to California with her husband, and they had the dress packed in a sealed box so that it would be fully protected. I wanted to do that, Mom. I know you didn't have a dress of your own to give me because you had worn a borrowed dress. Your mother eloped and she didn't have a dress to give you. I said, I know, I've been haunted by that. She said, well, I won't have to be haunted by that. I bought this dress for my daughters. I know what you mean, Robin, for your daughters. So they sealed the dress in a box, professionally sealed it, and put it in their attic. They have beautiful children. Beautiful children. They have 3 gorgeous boys, our grandsons. And there is this wonderful couture dress in the attic waiting for one of them. I laughed about it at first, and I still laugh sometimes because, you know, I think I know what she's going to do with that dress when the time comes. They're not going to want a couture dress. Their bride is going to be working that out with her mother. So I bet that Robin takes that dress to Fresno, to the La Tienda thrift shop, and sells it. I think that would be the right solution, don't you? Thank you for coming. Thank you for listening to my story. We'll have another story next time.